Here's how I used my ADHD brain to grow a seven-figure business. The very first principle I had to learn was about being a risk taker. It's something that us ADHD people have. We tend to take risks and we're impulsive. But I had to learn this when I graduated medical school. I went to my very first practice clinic and I hated it because I was being micromanaged on everything that I did. And I really didn't like it. I was like, why the heck did I even join this profession? I'm not sure if I even really want to be a doctor anymore. And this is where I had to make this risky move in order to provide for my family. Because at the time, my wife just had a kid. She wasn't working anymore. And I told her, like, look, I am not enjoying this. And I think I'm just going to have to start taking the risk and start my own practice and run my own practice. And she was okay with it. And so I did that leap of faith of just jumping right into it and taking that risk. And it was by far the best decision that I ever made. And the reason why this is so important is that if you are an entrepreneur, which I'm assuming that you probably are, you understood that you had to make that risk. You had to make that shift. And that is something that's really great about our ADHD brain is we have to be risk takers as entrepreneurs. And because I made that decision, it was the best decision I ever made. It grew very rapidly to a six-figure business. And so I was able to support myself and my family and be able to enjoy what I was finally doing and actually doing things how I wanted to run things. And this led into my second principle that I feel like my ADHD brain really helps me significantly. And that is being creative, but more so thinking outside the box. So for those who run a business, you get that probably the two most important skills that you need to learn to growing a business is marketing and sales. And I knew that in order for me to get in front of people, to understand my message and know who I am, marketing was key, but I had to be very creative about it. And this is where I decided to start a YouTube channel and start creating videos that were creative. I even did animations. I did all sorts of stuff just to get my message out there, but it started to build traction and I started to get clients through that. And that's what made such a big difference, shifting and growing my business from it just being stuck of just making 100K each year. Which leads into my third principle is that I realized that there was a lot of things that I did not know, and I needed help to be really hyper-focused with my ADHD brain. And so I wasn't getting distracted like a lot of entrepreneurs do, that they might start 10 different businesses or try hundreds of different things that think that this is the next shiny object that's going to grow my business. But does it really? And I had to have a business coach, and I still continue using business coaches to really help me and reshift me and help me focus on the most important things to being consistent. So some people with ADHD, they struggle first. Initially, I see this with my patients and clients, struggle with consistency, especially when they're trying to grow a business or just being more productive and efficient. And I use coaches to help me realize, okay, what is the most important thing that I need to be doing? And I will double down on that. And that's something that our ADHD brain can be very effective because you can hyper focus on it as far as you know what to pinpoint and dive into. And so what I need to focus on was not doing all these different paid ads and being on all different social media platforms at this point in time in my business. I need to focus on what was really working. And that was my YouTube channel. That's where we were getting all our patients and clients and still do get our patients and clients. Now, if you want to check out the YouTube channel, it's called Dr. LeGrand, different YouTube channel, but this is where we get all our patients and clients. And I was consistent, and I am consistent every single week, posting a YouTube video, delivering my message. And that has been the key from taking my business from where I was making 100K plus a month to now getting it to a 500,000 mark. That was what made that big, huge jump from there. And then this leads into my fourth principle. So when you are growing, one of the things that also we get distracted with our ADHD brains is that we try to take on any kind of client, take on any kind of opportunity. And this was my big challenge when I was first starting my brick and mortar practice. I would see any kind of patient. And sure, that was good, but that really was a disservice, not only for me, but it was also a disservice to the patients of just trying to be a generalist instead of being a specialist. And so I started to make that shift, especially in 2020, where I started to shifting my practice to a virtual health practice and focusing and targeting people with ADHD, people that I can resonate more with because I have ADHD. And it's something that I've been able to overcome. And sharing that message was very pivotal. But not only did I niche down, so that was the big thing, was to niching down, but also even going more so of not just working with kids, I actually eliminated that and only started working with adults. And now I'm starting to shift to only working mostly just with entrepreneurs with ADHD or have focus and memory issues and maybe don't have ADHD, but basically that has been more my niche target. And when I made that shift, that is what made it to the mark to that 7 figures, is because people realize when I specialized in that, not only did I become better as a doctor and a business owner, but also I was able to help those people even more specifically because that's where my hyper focus is. And that's what's great about the ADHD brain is that if we know how to channel it in hyper focus, we can scale the business. We can. It's just we can't be distracted with all the different shiny objects. Now, this 5th principle, I would say is probably the most important principle. Probably should have been number 1, but I want to save the best for last. And as someone who runs a staff and employees and runs a 7-figure business, I have to be on my A game. I have to have the energy, I have to have the focus and productivity and be able to lead my team and making very important decisions within the business. I can't falter. If I falter, my business crumbles. And if I don't have the energy and focus, then my business crumbles. And so my health is by far, and it should be for yours, the most pivotal and most important thing, and especially our ADHD health. So I'm always constantly have to be working on this. And what made the big difference when I was in college, when I was first diagnosed, is that I had to seek out other doctors that understood the importance of body chemistry imbalances and not just look at my ADHD as like, oh, here, take this medication, because that didn't work for me. I had to make changes and shifts in order to help with my ADHD and not just rely on medication because that just wasn't the answer. It was finding holistic doctors that understood the importance of my body chemistry imbalances. And that's what I do with all my patients and clients is understanding the root cause of your ADHD symptoms, of why it's holding you back. And when I was able to do that, I knew exactly what to implement. I knew what type of treatment plans to put in. I know what nutrition to implement. I know what to actually target and focus to up-level myself to be the A game player that I need to be and be the business owner that my employees can rely on me. And so in order to do so, it always requires investigative work. So you should watch this video next where I dive into that deep so you can do what you need to do in order to up level as an entrepreneur. So watch this video next.